My name is Lucinda Homan. I work with Environment America. I just want to acknowledge actually Andrew Homan, who's in the room. Andrew is the regional director with U.S. Senator Evan Bayh's office here in Indianapolis. We'll kick off the panel in just a couple of minutes, but before we do that, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew, who's going to give us some opening remarks. Again, Andrew Hsu, director of the Lugar Center for Renewable Energy.
Well, thanks, Lucinda, and good afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to IUPUI, and thank you for your participation to this very timely and important discussion. Here I would like to first thank Environment America for bringing this event to Indianapolis and for their effort in organizing this event. The Lugar Center is proud to be the co-host for this event. And I'm very glad to see so many familiar faces, but I'm equally happy to see so many new faces, and we think that this discussion needs to happen now, and the more people involved, the better. We hope that you'll enjoy today's event and that we will see you again in our future events. Or even better, if you would become patrons of either the Lugar Center or Environment America, that would be even better. Today we're honored to offer such a distinguished panel, and we're confident that their insight will add much value to the ongoing discussion of climate change and what it means to our state, our nation, and our world. And I would like to tell you a story that, as you know, this is a very controversial issue. And recently, our governor published a paper in Wall Street Journal, was it? And so several of us from IU, from IUPUI, and from Purdue, we got together and we said, can we write a white paper and say something about this issue, whether we need to do something now or not, whether it's going to affect Indiana in a significant way or not, and so forth. And these are all experts in the area. For instance, Wally Tyner, some of you may know, and J.C. Randolph from IU, Bloomington. And finally, we said that we really don't know what's going to happen to Indiana if climate changes the way it's predicted that to the direction that it's going. So we decided to just keep silence and do more study and leave this to others to discuss this issue. So that shows you how complicated this issue is. But as most of us are aware, climate change represents one of the most, if not the most, significant and pressing issues facing our nation and facing the world today. The so-called energy climate paradigm, if not successfully resolved, will have unthinkable and disastrous consequences. Recent empirical evidence and authoritative reports have all pointed to the seriousness of this unfortunate phenomenon, including the recent report titled Global Climate Change Impacts in the United States, which I hope will be discussed by our panel today. The unequivocal warming of climate is already leading to many negative impacts, and there will likely be more to come unless serious actions are taken by all nations around the world. As the recent report states, increases in air and water temperature, reduced number of frost days, increased frequency of heavy rainfall, rising sea levels, and reduced snow covers, among others, have all been observed. They're no longer predictions. They have been observed as facts. All of these have serious implications for current and future civilizations, and if not dealt with, could result in grave consequences. Among some of the expected consequences include hurricanes with increased intensity and frequency, flood and drought in some parts of the world, which in turn could impact human health, water supply, agricultural production, and many others. The list just goes on. Current discussion in Washington and recent discussions in the G8 meeting in Italy appears to indicate that the world leaders have realized that the matter, the seriousness of the matter, and begin to understand the importance of dealing with this sooner rather than later. This international discussion is very important, obviously, because this truly is a global issue, and I'm sure many of you have read the book by Thomas Friedman. Thomas Friedman is a New York Times reporter. He wrote his first book several years ago, The World is Flat. And now he has come up with his new book, The World is Flat, Hot, Crowded, and Flat. And one of his major theses is that global warming and energy shortage is going to be the major issue that would face all of us. And in order to solve that problem, there must be international collaboration. And that is why we are going to have some forums this fall organized by the Lugar Center in those areas and about those issues, about energy security, about international collaboration on renewable energy and climate change, and the necessity of these international collaborations. And I encourage you to go to our website and look for those information, and I encourage you to participate in those discussions. As the report states, in an increasing interdependent world, U.S. vulnerability to climate change is linked to the fate of all other nations. For example, migration of populations resulting from flood or from food or natural resources scarcity, from health impacts and others, have potential to threaten our livelihood and our national security. As you know, climate change is closely linked to energy consumption and to CO2 emission. So the Lugar Center is doing what it can to help deal with this issue and mitigate the impacts of global climate change. Our mission is, of course, to develop clean and affordable renewable energy sources to address societal needs in those areas. And we do this primarily through our research, our education, and public outreach efforts like this forum.